Your boy is back, the one and only, the kid, the nonprofit sector connector. Island vibes, island suit. You know, and they say, like, when in Rome, when in Bermuda. Well, I'm not in Bermuda, but when on Long Island, baby, it is an island. We're here. I am Tommy D. You know that by now, or you wouldn't be showing up. And if you just found me, hello, I'm Tommy D. Nice to meet you. So we're here. The show's called Long Island Changemakers, and on this program, I bring people doing very cool, very important, impactful work on the island where I hail from, the island that I've said. I watched a couple episodes of my show, and I said, I've never actually left here for more than like 7 days, and that's true. So this is somewhere that I live, I breathe, I raise my family on this island, and I make incredible relationships and networks and connect, and that's why I am the nonprofit sector connector. So here's what happens. I'm at an event. Two friends of mine are on the panel discussion out in Suffolk County on Long Island, and apparently I was out there introducing people and connecting. And I meet this gentleman here, Paul Howard, who's my new friend. We're doing some collaboration. I'm excited to have you here, man. Yeah. Good to see you, mate. I like saying mate.
Cheers, mate. Thanks a lot.
Mate.
Thanks
right on, right on. So I know some people from Philly. Yeah. And that's not really the accent they have down in Philadelphia.
You know, if you've ever seen the TV show Mayor of Easttown, that's the kind of accent that they have where I am.
The mayor of Easttown?
Yeah, they're in Delaware County. Okay. Yeah, when they phone home.
They phone home, do they?
Pick me up a steak on the way home.
Right.
I'll phone you.
See, phone home, I think of E.T. Now, you don't come from as far away as he did, but it's further away.
It's pretty far. It's pretty far. I come from a city of Manchester in the northwest of England.
So I don't know if I told you this, man. I was in. How far is that from London?
Mate, so it's I'm going to say a couple of hours on the train.
It is. Okay. Yeah. So I've only been to London, and not everywhere in the world, but I mean in England. It's the only place I've ever been. Yeah. And I don't tell a lot of people this story, but I'm going to share it with you because it's just you and I. It's a secret. Yeah. So I'm there with a company. I'm about 27 years old, and I'm there with a company I was working for at the time, ADP, Automatic Data Processing, big payroll operation, right? And I have this girlfriend, and I decide that on this trip in London, I'm going to bring a ring.
Oh boy,
dude. So
Oh boy.
So I travel. I didn't wear these beads at the time, but I probably had like on a. It was kind of like a Guido at this point in my life. So I had like a sterling silver necklace, and I had the engagement ring, which cost more than a couple bucks, on the necklace. Okay. Because I got to go through, security, the whole deal. So we go out. We're there. We're celebrating President's Club, the whole thing. Yeah. And I'm at the Ritz. Yeah, well, this is they put you up. This is what they do. Not on my dime, right? But they, when you work for these companies, they put you up. You did a good job. Yeah. Let's celebrate. So I said to my girlfriend, I said, hey, what are you wearing? What kind of jewelry are you going to wear tonight? So she goes, oh, I'm going to wear this necklace, that my brother gave me. Right. So I said, well, why don't you wear this? I did the whole thing right there. Got down on one knee and proposed in the Ritz-Carlton in London, and that's my story about Tommy Day. That's what I got, brother.
Come on,
that's what I've done in the UK. That's my whole story.
I take from that you proposed to your now wife on the company dollar.
Yeah, I guess I did. Do you think I should expense something? I don't know. Listen, you're gonna get in trouble. We're gonna do business together. So now you're getting me. That was literally. I'm 47 years old. We're raising 4 kids together, and
that's phenomenal.
Then we went over to Ireland for like 4 or 5 days.
Wonderful.
Did the Cliffs of Moher, which is beautiful. Yeah. Have you been to Ireland?
Yeah, I have plenty of times. Plenty of times. It's so close. Yeah. England, Wales, Scotland, Ireland. We're all just so close to each other. It's just dead easy to get over there.
How often do you get back home?
Well, I aim for twice a year. COVID wasn't easy.
So has it been a bunch of years?
No, I got home last year when I turned 50.
Did you? That's a big number.
Big number.
I'm on my way there. I'm staring at it. Yeah. It's like, it's like a block away.
Mate, you look better than I did when I was 47, 48.
Well, anyway, thanks.
That's all I can say. My wife told me on somewhere over the Atlantic Ocean that we were going to pick up the bill for the party that we were hosting. Wow. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I guess that's one of those things where, what are you going to do? Jump out of the plane? You kind of
I mean, she knows me well.
She kind of stuck at that point.
You're kind of stuck. You're up in the air. I can't make a big deal of it.
That's what they say. They say things are up in the air. You might think this is funny now. You might get tired of all this shenanigans.
I won't. All right.
I won't. So let's tell this story. I want to hear your story. But even before we do that, you saw me in this room. We're hanging around a little bit. Tell that, because I keep telling people what I think happened.
I got up. I've lived just south of Philadelphia, and it took, what, 4 or 5 hours for me to get to the place on Long Island, public transport. And I get there and I think, I'm just gonna settle. I'm gonna stand in the corner. I'm just gonna get a cup of coffee and something to eat. And I see this gentleman in the room, just gliding around the room, meeting, greeting, smiling. Everybody seemed to receive, I now know to be you, so well. You were connecting, and then eventually it was my turn. You came over and you introduced yourself, and then within 2 minutes I knew that we were going to be friends. I just knew we were going to be friends.
I like that.
And straight away I started to think, how can I work with this guy? Because I want to work with people I like. And then you started to introduce me right away to connect dots and put me. I've got an interesting story with the Sattell Institute, but you started to introduce me to the people that you instinctively seem to know that I needed to speak to. And I thought to myself, not only is this guy vivacious and somebody who I want to be around, but he's also very gracious with his connections. There's no gatekeeping going on here.
No, yeah. Well, thank you for that. And I think what's really, and to kind of make the show, it's not about you telling me how great I am. That's not what it is. But I mean, it would be a good show.
Yeah, I think that would be
that show. I would watch. But I bring it up just to say, to give people a vision into how we originally connected. Because when we get into shortly what we can, and I think we're going to be very successful in collaborating. It all started out at a Wilmington Trust event. Dedicated to the nonprofit sector with a panel discussion. My friend Yolanda Rabano-Gross from Options for Community Living was on that panel. My friend Suzanne Lisanti was on that panel from Puzzle HR. And that's why I'm in the room, because I got invited, great speakers. Yolanda Rabano-Gross and Options are honoring me later this month, the murder mystery event. That's a whole nother story. So I want to go back, before we get into Sattell Institute, what is your background? We joke a little bit about being from overseas, but tell me your story.
Gosh, so I come from Lancashire and from working class folk. My grandfather was a miner, my mum was a nurse, my father was a welder.
That's awesome.
Their marriage didn't make it, but I still was brought up in a house of love and laughter and music and the Christmas get-togethers. It was just a proper working class upbringing, and I reasonably kind of clever. School came easy to me. Sport was the thing that anchored me in the school, but I wasn't exposed to anything really. How could I be? I didn't have, my family did not have those middle-class connections to expose me to the white-collar working life. And so I found myself graduating from university with no clue what it is I wanted to do.
No real direction.
No real direction.
Did you think about the trades? I mean, your dad's a welder, right? Your mom's
not even. I was sick. I remember being 18 years old before I started university, walking around the industrial estate, knocking on factories to say, hey, can I have a job over the summertime? It was just it was as basic as that. I found myself straight out of university working in a local job centre, helping other people get work. And
well, that's a job.
Right, it's a job. And I thought to myself, gosh, is this it? Is this it? And then I was reading the paper, because people still read newspapers back then.
This is the second time today. I did a show this morning, and my guest has been in the nonprofit space for 35 years, and she told me how she got her first job by looking in here on Long Island, the Newsday, and had an ad, and we can relate to that. Some of the young folks watching, they don't know what we're talking about.
I came across an advert that said, we're short of teachers. If you have a specialist in this particular subject, which I did because I could speak French, they say, come and train to be a teacher. I thought, you know what, I don't really know what I'm doing. Sounds like it's another year at university, so I'll just go back there and do that. And then what I fell into became a 20-year career.
Wow.
I loved it. I loved it.
Teaching.
I loved teaching. I loved the interaction with the children. I loved the challenges of getting in a sea of English, creating this island of French.
Wow, that's poetic.
Well, you know,
I mean, it is. In a sea of English, because I saw that.
I do come from the land of Shakespeare.
You do. So you fancy yourself a bard, do you? I mean, there are 4 men from Liverpool that I think were great writers too.
Yeah, wonderful.
Didn't they just teach us the basic stuff, though? You know, love. All you need is love, right? Compassion. Right. That's what I'm all about. Right. And it's not not just because I like the color pink that I dress this way.
But you know, that's what teaching is. Like, sure, there are certain base things. You have to be an expert in your subject matter. Sure. Teaching is an artisan skill. A skill that you develop and hone over the years. But really, you are there. Those are secondary things. Really, you are there to help shape the next generation of young minds that are coming through. And these kids, they only get one crack of the whip. They only get one go at going through school. So I turned up every single day.
So you took it very seriously. Yeah, you took it as an obligation, no?
Absolutely. I'm very serious about even now, I will always say to people, you should be a teacher. I want the very best in life to at some point in their life, teach or coach. And I think that's really important. If we can all do that in our lives at some point, just teach or coach. It doesn't have to be a formal environment. It could be that you volunteer and run your kids' soccer team or something like that. But at some point, give that back to the younger minds coming through. Let
me ask you about that, because don't you think, like, so I coached one of my son's CYO basketball team last year, right? And we won 1 game. We played more than 1 game, right? We played about a dozen, but we did get that win, right? But there was a couple of tenets that were very important to me when I met with these boys for the first time. And this is my younger son, so they were 9 at the time. So you take these kids, you put them in the gym at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'm trying to get them to learn things. Forget about it, man. They're bouncing off walls, right? But I talked to them about have fun and respect each other, right? That was the most important stuff that I was talking about, and the respect was critically important. So as I'm hearing you talk, I'm thinking in terms of, I can look back over the 47 years and know that there were people that said or treated me a certain way that sticks with me. I think that's where you're going, that these folks can look back at this.
And it is. And now, thanks to, I mean, I'm not friends with any of my former students on the more informal social media, but on LinkedIn, we're all connected. And these guys,
see what they're doing.
I see what they're doing. And they're still reaching out to me, and they're still calling me sir.
That's pretty awesome.
Right, and that is the relationship that I was able to build with these kids.
So you started, I mean, you were in your early 20s when you started teaching?
Yeah, I was.
So you weren't that far removed from where they were.
That was also challenging too, right?
Sure.
I'm 23 years old, and I'm teaching kids 16, 17 years old in those first years. But then, you know, I began to get frustrated very quickly by the profession. It's just like, hang on a minute. I supposedly had been taught how to teach in my 12 months at university, and then in that first year of being on the job, I sat down at the end of the first year and I thought, man, this is not working. Right, the methodology that I had been taught to use, you know, I was using that in the classroom, but no matter how hard I worked and the worksheets I created and the fun and the games and the excitement and the edutainment that I had going on in the classroom, and no matter how great the relationships I built with those kids were, by and large, the majority of the kids weren't progressing as they should have been. Right? The bright kids, they get it, and they will always get it. But what about the middle? What about that vast group of kids in the middle that come to school, they turn up, they enjoy me, they enjoyed the lessons, and it still wasn't sinking in?
When you say it wasn't sinking, so they weren't getting it?
They weren't getting it. Okay. Therefore, there's something wrong with the methodology. And so I went back to the drawing board, and it was the beginning of the internet. You remember the dial-up modem?
Yeah, I do, with the AOL guy. Like, he was like this, I can run over it.
Yeah. Remember nobody else could use the phone when you were using the internet.
I'm on the internet. I'm on AOL, man.
That's it. And I started to do some very basic research, and I thought to myself, man, so the SAS want to train their elite soldiers to speak in French, what are they doing? They're not pulling the school textbook off the shelf. There must be other methodologies out there.
And they're teaching kids that are not much older than what you're talking about, 18, 19-year-old people, right? Yeah.
So I went back almost to educate myself on the different methodologies of teaching that there were, particularly language teaching, and then I ended up developing my own course, and those courses were given a National Teaching Award, and then were since published and appeared in a UK government white paper on good practice in schools, and that's what I did.
Congratulations!
That's
a huge deal. That's a big deal, man.
But then I fell in love with an American, and you know.
You know what it is? Like we joked before, but you guys always wanted us back, I guess, and that was like your way of.
I joke that the U.S. taxpayer could save billions and billions of dollars on the arms industry by just sending American women out into the world, and we will do their bidding. Because you guys don't get this, but you guys all sound like, to us, to our ears, this mix of rock star, movie star, like you're so cool to us. You guys could come to any part of the UK, stand in a crowded pub and read out the instruction manuals of a tumble dryer. And people will still think that you are the coolest thing ever to have walked
I think it's best for my
pub.
marriage if I don't go over there and read any instruction manuals, because you're saying I might become very popular, and I should probably stay over here. If I'm gonna, especially if I'm gonna read, I'm not as exciting to the people on this side of the pond.
I think for the benefit of UK women, you should perhaps stay here on Long Island.
Fair enough. Well, look, the last time I was in the UK, I got engaged, so who knows what happens from there.
Who knows?
I'll stay here. So how does that? So you fall in love.
Yeah.
You move to the States right away.
Fall in love, and look, I don't want to get too political about it, but the UK had just voted Brexit at the time. Sure. I voted to remain. I remember waking up that day thinking, what have we done? We've just voted to make ourselves poorer and shot ourselves in the foot. But for a time there, they were making it very difficult for even our friends in the US to get a job and work in the UK. And so I ended up landing a job offer first, and that was in New York City, in Manhattan, for a British company. Okay. And it's called the Mountbatten program. They're still around, and they have a brilliant program. They bring in postgraduates to the United States on a 1-year J visa, and they come into the United States, they stay for a year, they intern at Fortune 500 companies in New York City, they live in New York City, they learn about the culture of the US and everything that it has to offer, and then they go back after a year. They have their resumes enriched, they've had their life enriched, they've challenged themselves, they've taken themselves out of their comfort zone to live in a foreign country.
It's pretty awesome.
For 12, pretty awesome program.
And you were working for that cohort? Like when
that's
you got to, it's a little bit of teaching still, right? So you got to lean back in
a little bit of teaching, and then through that I started to also to do some kind of business development for these guys, going in, speaking to the US employers at the time that were taking these internship placements, and I thought to myself, man, I'm actually quite good at that, because as much as your accent works for you over there, it kind of works for me.
I got to tell you something. Here's the thing. Years and years ago, probably 25, 30 years ago, maybe longer, I fell in love with Nicole Kidman because she was in that movie. And I know she's not from England, but just from her accent, she's in that movie, Days of Thunder. Do you remember Days of Thunder?
Days of Thunder.
You remember that?
Yeah, I do.
So there's something about accents.
Yeah.
Something about something that's different, I guess.
There's something about when you come to a TV studio on Long Island and then a lovely person offers you a cup of coffee.
We didn't have any Earl Grey tea for you, sir. Is that what it is? Did you want a chamomile? I apologize.
Listen.
You know what?
I took the coffee.
Had you not forced us to throw all that tea in the freaking harbor, we could have given you a cup of tea, sir. But all we had for you was coffee. All right. I'm telling you, you know what's funny about it? I love the accent battle, right? So I remember going down to Ocean City, Maryland, right, being like Delaware, Virginia, in these areas, and somebody says, oh man, where are you from, Boston? And I'm like, come on, man. Like, it's not even close, but like, you probably clump us, you say like we all sound like rock stars.
Believe it or
but
not.
even in our own country, man.
Yeah.
I watched a thing on PBS one time, and it was all about the different accents around this country, and it's pretty wild. I mean, you go down to like New Orleans or New Orleans, right? Yeah. And you got like the Cajun accent. You got that's so cool, man. And it's still the same language, right? But it just sounds different.
The Boston accent is actually one of the only ones I can do.
Dude.
Because they say car, just like we say it.
So you say that one.
So, you know, we're going to a bar. Where do I park my car?
I mean, you're from Old England, and that's New England. So I guess that's how it works. Yeah.
So yeah, I came over here because I fell in love with a lovely woman who's now my wife, and we have a 7-year-old daughter. You know, we did 2 years in Manhattan, and then I got the opportunity of a lifetime down in Philadelphia to give rebirth to the charitable foundation, which was part of the Major League Soccer team, the Philadelphia Union. Had existed for 6 or 7 years, had existed in name only for 3 or 4 of those. Yeah, the foundation. It wasn't really doing anything. It had run out of steam. It wasn't generating any money. It couldn't therefore do anything. And it was just an amazing opportunity where they essentially presented me with a blank sheet of paper and said,
make something happen.
Make something happen here. The ownership floated the salary for 12 months. So that was the deal. It's just like, we're going to float you for 12 months, but after 12 months, you need to be self-sufficient, you need to be generating your own revenue, and then you need to be having an impact in the communities, a real measurable impact in the communities. And we worked bloody hard for the first, this is April 2019, we got through that first season, and we got all our plans ready to go for the beginning of the new season in March 2020.
Oh, man.
And then everything kind of stopped. But and this sounds terrible because there's so much tragedy in COVID, but for the Philadelphia Union Foundation, and for me personally, it was an opportunity. Where there's a threat, there's always an opportunity. And nobody was kicking a ball. Nobody was kicking a ball, and so it was just like, well, what's the point? What is the point of the club?
Why have a foundation, right?
So for a period of 6 to 9 months, I went from being almost a boil on the backside of the marketing department to sitting in the cockpit of this rocket ship. I felt that I had the full support of this Major League Soccer team and their ownership,
community,
and their
because there was so much need there,
because there was so much need.
The communities need food. So there was so much opportunity, I guess, and we're going to go to Sattell Institute shortly, because from a corporate social responsibility perspective, there was so much to get to.
Do you remember the days when people couldn't get enough protective PPE? They couldn't get enough hand sanitizer, where frontline workers were working 20 hours a day. They couldn't even get home and do the supermarket shopping.
Certainly here in the Northeast, right?
Right, no, it's the same down there as well. It was. So what did we do? Well, we used the leverage that we had, and the branding that we had, and the connections that our ownership had, and our commercial partners and corporate partners had. We leveraged all of those things to get PPP into the hands of people who needed it, to drop hand sanitizer all around Chester, Pennsylvania, to make sure that our frontline workers had warm meals in the middle of the day and at the end of the day. And we've also found out that our fan base would support that. And so we created this Fight for Philly campaign, and our fans could buy T-shirts.
Being a Met fan, it's painful. I got to be honest with you, but we'll put that aside for now, because it's city of brotherly love. So I love you, brother.
There you go. And we found out that our fans would support that and would get behind that in the name of their sports team. And we had these T-shirts produced, and it cost us like $6 to make the T-shirts. The fans were paid $25 for the T-shirts.
They knew what it was.
They got no problem, because everything then went to doing all of those things in the community, and that really gave us a lift off as a foundation. And when I left 5 years later, we had mental health programs for the
So it's almost like you say, like if we think in terms of business, a SWOT analysis, right? Strengths, weakness, opportunities, threats. There is so much, and again, I think we both hate to look at it like a silver lining. lining, but there's so many things that came out of that COVID, the pause, the actual, I mean, I don't start a show, Philanthropy in Focus, on January 8th of 2021, which now has 225 episodes, if it wasn't for me being home in my attic. Like, that's the kind of stuff, like, that's real, right? That's real stuff. I want to make sure we move on, because believe it or not, time goes very quickly here. 5 years ago, you said, or you spent after 5 years there. So what was the transition point? Why did you make the move? And
gosh, I got a phone call on a wet, dark January Friday, 4 o'clock. My phone rings. It's the president of the Philadelphia Union. I'm thinking, oh my God. Like, that's never a good time to receive a phone call from the president of the company you're working for. And he phoned me up and he said, Paul, I don't know whether I'm doing the right thing here personally, but I'm on this board of this thing called the Sattell Institute, and they're looking to expand beyond Greater Philadelphia. They're looking for a regional vice president. I got hold of the job description. I'm going to pass it on to you. I know I'm going to lose you, but you need a bigger... Now, that's leadership, isn't it? That is leadership.
Yeah, I think that's the definition. I mean, I know guys who do the exact opposite.
Yeah, like, I said to him, Tim, I said, I will go for it. This sounds like a wonderful opportunity. But I said, just to be clear, if I go for it and don't get it, I'm still committed.
Am I getting fired here? Yeah, are you firing me nicely?
And then I land the position at the Sattell Institute, and I now
what's his name, Tim?
Tim McDermott, the president of the Philadelphia Union.
Shout out to Tim McDermott.
And I really do now have the best job, and I'm a guest in your country, and I have the best job in your country, I feel, because now I get to speak to CEOs and presidents and founders and owners, great entrepreneurs, and this country is a country of entrepreneurs. To its credit, I get to speak to these amazing individuals every day, and I get to help them shape their thinking around corporate social responsibility and how they can come together, each one of them experts on their own vertical, to talk about something on the horizontal, and that is improving the communities in which they do business, from whom they recruit, to whom they sell their goods and services. They know this is not, and it doesn't have to be altruistic. It's in their best interest to have strong, thriving communities, and that's what the members of the Sattell Institute do. And that's why I'm on Long Island speaking to Tommy D.
Well, what are we going to do together? What are we looking for? Who are we going to connect with? Let's talk about that.
Well, we're looking for those owners, those CEOs, those entrepreneurs, those market presidents, those decision makers, and we want those guys. We want to put them in a room, an amazing room full of amazingly talented individuals, and we put them together, and magic happens, and we will frame the conversation. And we will introduce them to people who are doing great things elsewhere, and then all of a sudden we have the power of we, not me. And we sincerely believe at the Sattell Institute that community is every leader's business. And
community is every leader's business. Yeah, we, not me.
We, not me. You could be doing great things in the community, but if you're a chest thumping, look at me individual, you are not the right fit for the Sattell Institute, because we want to come together and support each other. And again, it's just that collective effort. We can achieve more if we're a we, as opposed to just a me.
I just came up with an idea. I think we should do an episode like this, like once a month, once every 6 weeks, we come together and talk about the great strength that we're creating together on Long Island. I think it'd be like, let's talk about some of the wins, let's talk about how we're impacting the community. And you know what it is? When you're the host and the executive produder of the show, you get to do whatever you want, man.
Even wear a salmon pink suit.
You can do it whatever you want when you're Tommy D. I am not kidding. Listen, welcome to my island.
Cheers, mate.
Welcome to Long Island, brother. Welcome
to
Long Island Changemakers. I'm fired up about what we're going to do starting next week going forward. So we're going to do some good stuff, man.
I love that, mate. I'm ready for my next coffee.
Right. Can you get this man a cup of coffee, please? He's thirsty. I am Tommy D, the one and only, the nonprofit sector connector. This is the one and only show called Long Island Changemakers, because I made it up. It's the only one that exists. Listen, meet me here. We're going to do more shows together. I appreciate you all. This has been another In Focus production. I'll see you later. Bye now.